So now we've seen two aspects of Hillel. Hillel speaking about your connection to Hashem, and Hillel speaking about your connection to people. And you see, it's interesting. I mean, they're close, but he says your connection to Hashem, as I said, is about loving people and bringing them close to Torah. And so he gives you a practical advice on how to connect to people. Don't be all about yourself. It's not all me. Right? That's how. So now let's get to be about you. So Hu HaYomer, probably the most famous Mishnah from Pirkei Avos. Right? People all over the world know this one. You see it quoted all the time. Hu HaYomer, he used to say, Im ein ani li. If I am not for myself, mi li. Who will be for me? If I don't look out for myself, who's going to look out for me? If I don't take care of myself, if I'm not responsible for myself, Im ein ani li. If I am not for me, mi li. Who will be for me? Ukesha'ani la'atzmi. Ukesha'ani la'atzmi. And in as much as I am for myself, at that time when I am for myself, in as much as I am for myself, ma'ani. What am I? Ve'im lo achshav. And if not now, ematai. And if not now, when? Im ein ani li. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? All three of these go together. These are Hillel's three Mishnayot on Torah, Avodah, Gemilas Hasadim. Or in our case, it's Avodas, Gemilas Hasadim, Torah. Three relationships in life: relationship with yourself, relationship with God, relationship with others. So Hillel has three Mishnayot. The first one is your relationship with God. The second is your relationship with man. This is your relationship with yourself. So how do you deal with yourself? How do you build a connection to yourself? How do you build yourself up? So the first thing to keep in mind, as we said, that the tool for building yourself is Torah. Right? God, you want to know who you are, what your responsibilities are, what your life's about, what you're supposed to accomplish. That's why he gave you Torah. Torah is your instructions for living. But he says, Im ein ani li, mi li. It comes from a different construct. But sometimes, you're going to a party, you're going to a place where there's people, and you're worried, what are they going to think about my shoes? What are they going to think about my clothes? What are they going to think about me when I walk in? Right? So the first thing you have to know is, they won't think anything. Because they are so wrapped up in themselves, they're not going to notice you anyways. That people spend their whole lives involved in themselves. You're a prop in their life. Right? I'll tell you, one of the hardest things in my life, was a number of years ago when my oldest son, hit 12 or 13. I can't remember exactly when it was. And we're sitting at a Shabbos table, and he said something, I don't remember what it was, but it reminded me for the first time I had a realization where I have always considered that this is my life, and you guys are all props and bit players in my life, that kid was sitting across the table thinking that this was his life, and that I'm a bit player and prop in his life, and that I was thinking this is my adulthood and fatherhood, and he's thinking this is his childhood, right? It's like, no, this is my life, you're my son in my life, and to realize that there's some other whole separate human being sitting there thinking, this is my world, and you're my dad. Change of perspective. Yes, because the world does revolve around you. If you don't love yourself, if you're not willing to put the time into lifting yourself, to perfecting yourself, to taking responsibility for yourself, no one else will. I mean, your wife cares about you, because she's you. Her soul bonds to your soul. But for the most part, no one else really cares. And they do to a certain extent, but they don't really. They have to go... there's a saying that says, a man dies only to his wife. Right? A woman dies only to her husband. Because everyone else's life... Right? Here's the biggest possible thing that can happen to you. And everyone else's life goes on. They'll feel bad, the guy who gets in an accident becomes paralyzed, and for 60 days everybody's cooking for him and everybody's feeling bad. But at a certain point they move on with their life, and he's still stuck in a room trying to figure out how to go on. That as much as we're an echov briot, and I love people and I want to take care of people, so you have to understand to a certain extent, and it's a painful thing to hear, you're in this alone. You have a kahila, you have friends. But if you are not willing to take responsibility for your life, no one else can do it for you. If you think that your life is broken because of what your parents did to you, or because what the economy did to you, or because of what the germs or the disease or your race or your economic circumstances, and you say, and you just let your life rot because of what the world did for you. The world will let you rot. In the end, it'll let you fail. You have to take responsibility for your own life and recognize that whether I'm happy or not is up to me. Whether I grow or not is up to me. If I am not there taking responsibility for myself, no one else can do it. No one else, right? Your whole universe happens inside your skull. Right? You are a creature of thought, you're a creature of will, you're a creature of emotion, you're a creature of decision. No one can make you happy. Right? They can influence you. Right? They can whack you on the back with a stick enough times that it's very hard to get enough concentration to be happy. I'm not saying that people can't affect your life. But ultimately, its attitude is everything. You're a creature of will and decision and choice. He says you can't just lie there on the ground hoping someone else is going to fix your life up. Someone else is going to make me happy. Someone else is going to make me wise. Someone else is going to make me whole and wholesome. Right? Even though we just came from a mission that says, I have to love you and try to help you and be good to you, right? But he says, ultimately, you've got to take personal responsibility. If you do not take responsibility, if I am not making my life work, no one else can do it for me. Once I am making my life work, once I'm working on it, so now people can help me. People can daven for me. People can learn with me. People can help me find a job. People can train me. You know, you got friends. You got neighbors. You got community. You got kahila. But ultimately, the responsibility for whether you're a moral person has nothing to do with what your parents did to you. Whether you're honest or not has nothing to do with your race or your creed or your age or your society or your community. You are a creature of choice. Right? We will see a later Mishnah that says it's your job to borer, it's your job to choose the path in life. What's the straight path that a person chooses in life? It doesn't use the word, we'll see this when we get there, it doesn't use the word bachira, it doesn't use the word free will. Because you can't just freely choose any path. There are many paths in life that are shut off to you. They're just not available to you. Your job is amongst the paths that are available to select one. Right? But ultimately it's you who's got to do the selecting. Ultimately, it's you who decides. No one can make you unhappy, right? You know, how you react to the troubles you have, it's up to you. It's all up to you, right? You know, a week ago when they pushed me back on my heels, you know, I spent a couple of very hard days, you know. But then you decide that, all right, so this is the new normal. Now we go forward, and you go forward. But it's all up to you. If you don't take responsibility for yourself, no one else can do it. And at that time, when I am for me, when I step into being for me, so there's a very, very difficult question you have to ask yourself. Ma'ani. What am I? So some people read it as, don't be a selfish fool, right? You're for yourself, you know, what are you? What are you? What kind of guy is for himself? But the other way to read it is ukashani la'atzmi, at that time, right, where I am for me, what am I? What's the me? What's the I that I'm building? Am I a body? Am I a soul? Am I interested? What am I? Right? What do I want? I'm going to be for me. So you know what? What's me is I'm a runner. I'm going to put everything in my life to be the best runner possible. I'm a cyclist. I'm a producer. I'm a lawyer. I'm an athlete. I'm a painter. What are you? People have, right? You see people who are dedicating their whole life to, I'm a collector, or right? Ask people. It's fun. You push people to have them define themselves, right? You have to ask, what are you? Because you're going to dedicate your life to being that thing. What is it that you are? Right? I want to be. What do you want to be? I want to be a human being. I want to be a servant of God. I want to be a father. I want to be, right? He says the important is when you start to focus on yourself, you have to stop and say, what are you focusing on? Right? What are you dedicating your time to? Ukashani la'atzmi, ma'ani. What am I? Im ein achshav, ematai. And if not now, when? When are you going to get to it? Right? Time inches along, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're 40 years old, or 45 years old, or 50 years old. And all of a sudden those long horizons aren't quite as long as they used to be. When are you going to get to it? Right? Part of the reason I'm doing this now, to get this to tape now, is, all of a sudden they give you when the guy comes out and says, get your affairs in order, right? The first pass through wasn't looking like there was all that much time left. All of a sudden it's like, it changes your whole perspective of what time looks like, right? Get it down. Get it done now. Everything in your life, it's just so easy to say, I'll get to it next month. I'll get to it next year. Do it now. Time is the only thing you can't get more of, and you don't know if you're even going to be here tomorrow, right? To go from a preferred plus life insurance risk, which means the actuaries think you're going to live forever, to an absolutely uninsurable risk overnight, which means the actuaries aren't sure you're going to make it for 6 months. It's an awakening thing. It changes how you look at the world. All right? That's what it's all about. If not now, when are you going to get to it? What are you putting it off waiting for? One day I'll figure my life out. Start today. Start today. So that's Hillel's 3 pieces. How do you serve God? Love people and bring them close to Torah. All right? How do you connect to human beings? Be the kind of person who's growing and teaching and influencing others, who's not abusing his position, right, and is always moving forward, and he's not all into himself. And he gives you 5 or 6 little pieces, but if you look at that guy, that's a guy who fits into society. He's not all about himself. He's about other people, and he's constantly growing, and he's constantly improving, and he's teaching other people, and he's using what he has to serve humanity. It's not all about what he gets out of it. That's how you connect to people. And how do you connect to yourself? Grow. Take responsibility, figure out who you are, and get started now. So that's Hillel's approach to Torah, Avodah, Gemilas, Chesed.